I'm listening to the audio version at the moment, and
Hmm.
I like both the narrators, Emily Beresford and Nick Podol. How did
Hmm.
you come to choose those two? And why
Well,
two? Why not one?
so I wanted Nick, when you do a book through ACX, which
Yeah.
is how I did mine through Audible, they have a lot of people who have posted samples and are available.
Right.
So you post your book for auditions if you're willing, to just take cold auditions, which I did. Excuse me. And you also can just go out and look at what's there. And he was listed on Audible, and I knew him because I listened to a huge number of audiobooks. I have an audio library that, thank goodness, it's electronic because it would fill my whole house. My son and I made the mistake of sharing an account, and he buys every science fiction book under the sun, and I get a lot of other stuff. So we have a huge collection, and I knew him from the second John Dies at the End book. I forget what the name of it, and I think I'd heard him in something else too. So I really liked him as a narrator. I knew his name, and I contacted him. He worked through a producer named Mike Naramore. I hope I got that right. Of Terrestrial Something Limited. Sorry, I don't have the name exactly. And Mike suggested using two narrators, which I suspect was easier for him to schedule because they're both really busy. Uh, and so I think they did it in one day each, whereas they would have had to book bigger blocks of time to just use one narrator. But I think the two, because I switch alternating male and female leads on a chapter by chapter basis, I felt like that was a good way to go. And he recommended Emily, so she's really good to work with, and she's done my romances too.
Okay, and what was the process for you with the creation of the audio version? Just go
Yeah,
out,
so
find them, and leave it to them, or
yeah, when I worked with somebody, actually for all my audiobooks, because the people I've been working with are so professional, it's really just been a question of settling the terms and then being patient and saying, I'm not in a hurry, do it when you've got time, and they'll slot me in, and they do it, and they deliver the book, and I don't really have anything to do with it. Um, Now, in retrospect, with Keys, if I had been a little less naive, I probably would have done some character notes and things like pronunciation. And I think narrators really appreciate getting that kind of information, but they didn't ask me for it, and they didn't need it. They did a great job. They didn't really need any of that from me because they knew what they were doing way more than I did. So
okay,
yeah,
so that's
so
one little lesson from you. Are there any others that you would like to pass on to authors who are thinking of getting their books made into an audio version?
I think the biggest one is making sure you have a producer who is very good at what they're doing. So, for example, you're doing a video interview, and clearly you know how to do that. But if I had to do an interview and post it or maybe edit it in and put credits and music over, I would not do a very professional job. And I think that most of the books that come through ACX are quite good. People do a good job, but not everybody has a professional space for recording, and not everybody is equally good at fixing their mistakes or as good at going back and listening. So for example, when I work with Emily, she has, I guess you would call it a proof listener, who will go through the book afterwards and make sure she hasn't made a mistake, and if she has, she'll correct it. So I never even see any of that. And I have, so I get a reliable product at the end.
Hello, doggy.
Yes, that's my doggy expressing he's outraged that my door is closed.
Oh, shame.
Yeah.
Okay,
Saying I
well,
would
let's start.
find a really professional producer who, and a lot of people can read, but not everybody can handle the technical details.